The winds of Planet Thryos IV were unlike anything I had ever felt before. They sliced across the frozen plains like blades, carrying ice shards that glittered like shards of crystal under the pale twin suns. My bunker, one of the few safe havens in this sector, was barely holding its temperature against the raging blizzard outside. That's when I saw her. She appeared on the horizon as a small, trembling silhouette, hunched against the wind. Her skin shimmered a faint violet hue, a strange bioluminescence that betrayed her alien physiology. Even through the swirling storm, I could see the desperation in her movements. She was running, stumbling, almost collapsing into the icy ground again and again. I'll be a good girl, she shouted, her voice carrying over the howling wind. Please, let me in. I hesitated for only a moment. Humans are often told not to trust strangers, especially in war-torn or dangerous zones, and yet something about her terrified urgency compelled me. I activated the external hatch and threw open the reinforced door. She bolted toward it, slipping in the snow, her violet eyes wide with terror and relief. She collapsed inside, shivering uncontrollably, her small frame trembling under the thin protective cloak she wore. You're safe now, I said, closing the door and sealing the bunker against the storm. But I need you to calm down. You could freeze to death in seconds. Her eyes, luminous and wide, met mine. I didn't know if anyone would help, she whispered. Everyone else, they left me. I had no choice. I can see that, I replied gently. But here you're safe. Tell me your name. Lysera, she said softly. Lysera Nivare. I quickly moved to the supply cabinets and pulled out emergency thermal blankets and high nutrition rations. Lysera curled into a corner, accepting them with hesitant gratitude. Her fingers were pale and trembling, and her breathing was shallow. The blizzard outside wasn't just a storm, it was a threat of death, and she had been exposed to it far too long. Why were you out there alone? I asked, my voice calm but insistent. Lysera swallowed hard. My colony, it was destroyed. Raiders, they attacked. I escaped. But I have nowhere else to go. I wandered for days. I tried to find shelter. Anything. Anyone. But the planet is empty and no one helped. Her voice broke, and I could see the layers of fear, exhaustion, and loneliness embedded in every word. I realized then that this wasn't just a matter of physical survival. She had been abandoned emotionally as well. The galaxy had deemed her insignificant. You're safe now, I said again. No one's going to hurt you here. For a long moment she didn't respond. Her eyes glimmered faintly as she stared at the floor, processing the sudden shift from death and despair to warmth and safety. Over the next few hours, I worked to stabilize her condition. I monitored her vitals with the bioscanners, noticing subtle fluctuations in her bioelectric field, a natural response in her species to extreme cold and fear. She wasn't just cold. Her body had entered a semi-hibernation mode to preserve itself. You're stronger than you look, I murmured, gently adjusting her blankets. But you can't survive this storm without help. Can I help you? Lysera hesitated, her violet eyes flickering between caution and hope. I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore, she whispered. Humans, aliens. They all left me before. Why would you be different? Because sometimes the right person shows up at the right time, I said. And right now, I'm that person. Her eyes widened, a faint blush spreading across her cheeks as she struggled to process my words. The idea that someone could act selflessly toward her, that someone could care without expecting payment or submission, was foreign. The blizzard raged outside for hours, and the bunker's reinforced walls shuddered under its force. Lysera sat quietly, her small hands folded in her lap. I prepared hot nutrition packs and coaxed her to eat. She obeyed reluctantly, watching me as if studying my every move for signs of deceit. When the storm finally began to subside, she spoke. I never thought I'd make it through another night alone. Not after everything. Thank you, human. You don't need to thank me, I said. You survived because you were brave enough to seek help. I just made sure the door was open. Her glow pulsed softly, a sign I'd learned meant relief and gratitude in her species. I risked everything, she admitted. I could have died out there. I had to find shelter. And you did, I said, smiling. And you're still here. Alive. That matters more than anything. The next day, Lysera and I explored the outskirts of the bunker. Her species' natural resilience allowed her to adapt to the sub-zero temperatures, but I insisted she stay within the safety of the walls while I checked for supplies. Together, we salvaged equipment from the outer wreckage, preparing for the next storm. During this time, a quiet bond began to form. Lysera's initial fear and mistrust softened with every shared task, every moment of cooperation. She began to teach me subtle ways to interpret her bioelectric signals, her communication methods, and her species' survival instincts. In return, I showed her how to use human technology to protect herself and navigate the treacherous terrain. One night, as the twin suns set behind the icy mountains, she approached me hesitantly. Human. I want to thank you properly, she said, her violet eyes glowing faintly. You didn't just let me in. You made me feel seen. I've never felt that before. You're welcome, I replied softly. But it's more than that. You've risked everything to survive, Lysera. That courage. That bravery. It deserves to be seen. She paused, glancing down at the floor. I never expected anyone to see me as more than nothing. But you do. Yes, I said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. And now you're safe. And for the first time, you don't have to face the galaxy alone. Her luminescence pulsed brighter, her glow filling the small bunker with warmth. Finally, someone sees me, she whispered. Not as prey, not as weak, but as someone who matters. In the days that followed, we worked together to reinforce the bunker, creating a small haven in the middle of Thryos IV's frozen wasteland. Lysera adapted quickly, no longer flinching at sudden noises or the remnants of the storm. She began exploring cautiously, testing her environment, and learning to survive with guidance instead of fear. The storm may have been temporary, but the bond we formed endured. She had risked everything to survive, and in doing so, found one human willing to offer shelter, trust, and acknowledgement. One evening, as the auroras danced across the frozen sky, she stood at the edge of the observation deck, her violet glow reflecting against the ice. Human. I risked everything and I found it. Found someone who sees me. Who believes I'm worth saving. You did, I said. And that's why you're still here. Alive. And safe. She turned to me, a faint smile on her lips. I never thought survival could feel like this. Like hope. You earned it, I said. Not just the hope, but the right to be seen, to be recognized, to matter. And in the quiet stillness of Thryos IV, surrounded by the endless ice and cold, the alien girl finally understood what she had risked everything to find. Someone who truly saw her and cared. The galaxy may remain indifferent, the storms relentless, and the stars cold. But here in this small bunker, a bond of trust, compassion, and survival had been forged. Lysera had survived the blizzard, the loneliness, and the terror of abandonment. But more importantly, she had survived with her dignity and spirit intact, and she had finally found someone to see her for who she truly was.